Okay, so I'm here in the John O'Brien building. As you can see behind me, there's lots of people in this building. They are coming in between hearings. There's one at 8:30, there's one at 10:30. I'm going to the one at 10:30 where they're going to talk about our SHB2049. It's a House Appropriations bill. It's in the Appropriations Committee right now. There's going to be a lot of people there talking about it, but they have a whole list of bills that they're also going to cover. So we'll see how long I will actually be in there. But as you can see, this building is gorgeous. This is not even the main Capitol building, but even all the walls are covered in marble. People are excited. It is loud in this hallway. I'm not even sure if you can hear me. It is ridiculously warm in here. There are people like fanning themselves. I'm a little hot. And then in a few minutes, we're going to go into the hearing rooms. So being part of DVW does give you a little bit of street cred because I got to come into the hearing room early to set up. And also you can see there are going to be, I'm going to show you in a second, lots and lots of chairs. And there's going to be lots and lots of people in here because they were all outside, still hotter than Hades in here. Passions are going to be aflamed. It's going to be an exciting time. I'm excited to show you 2049. Pass, maybe not pass. It is the public hearing, so we won't know until the executive session that's scheduled in 2 days. But this hearing room is beautiful. It is one of the bigger ones that I've ever been in, and everyone's going to sit up there, which I'll show you in just a second. So very exciting. Looking forward to it.
Hey, good afternoon. My name is Wendy Weicker. I'm the Community Outreach Manager for a Public Services Recycling Center in Seattle and our collection services throughout King and Snohomish County. Unfortunately, your industry recycling professionals continue to oppose HB 2049 for the following reasons. Recycling isn't free. This bill hides the cost of recycling in manufacturers' products. It doesn't allow residents to see nor understand what the true costs are in the collection, processing, and end marketing of recyclables. 2, recycling companies are already doing what producers are being asked to do with this bill. We've invested millions in technology to increase material recovery over the years. My company has gone a step further and built a polymer recovery center in Las Vegas. We'll take West Coast food-grade plastic and turn it back into food-grade plastic for manufacturers. It's not clear how these investments would be reimbursed by a pro. Finally, speaking of costs, this bill does not address the current city contract and UTC partnerships that are the foundation of our state's recycling system. It's not clear what curbside collections, processing, or end market development costs would be reimbursed by the pro, nor how ratepayers would be reimbursed by the pro on their bills. We in the recycling business encourage you to expand on our successes by supporting HB 1900 to implement the strategic, efficient improvements to the system we actually need that will absolutely do the most good. Thank you.
Thank you.
Please go ahead.
Yes, Chair Ormsby and members of the committee, I'm Scott DeFife. I'm the president of the Glass Packaging Institute, the trade association for glass container manufacturing and recycling industries. Glass is a sustainable and infinitely recyclable material that has a circular economy in Washington with plants in Kalama and Seattle, plus a glass processing facility in Seattle. Recycled glass is a key ingredient in making new bottles. There's a tremendous benefit in using that material. We could use as much of it from Washington as we can get. Unfortunately, the vast majority of it's going into landfills in Washington because of the deficiencies of the existing system that does not work. We would like to be in support of this bill. Regrettably, we're still listed as other because we are concerned with some of the provisions. We have been working with the sponsors to make some changes, but we would like to see some increases in innovation and quality, and the inclusion of the DRS program like that in Rep. Stonier's HB 2144, as was recommended in the EPR performance study that the Ecology issued and is referenced in this bill.
Mr. DeFife.
Good afternoon, Chairman Orsby and members of the committee. Thank you for the opportunity to testify in support of this bill. I'm here representing businesses across the U.S. that want to recycle more
Can you please identify
plastic.
yourself for the record?
Sorry about that. Kate Bailey, Chief Policy Officer with the Association of Plastic Recyclers.
Thank you.
I am here representing businesses across the U.S. that want to recycle more plastic packaging. We can do better at plastics recycling, but we need your help to collect more plastics through stronger recycling programs. Our top priority is working with U.S. states to pass EPR and recycled content policies, the two main parts of this bill. I want to emphasize that EPR for packaging is the most proven, effective policy to improve recycling for all materials and has not been shown to increase direct consumer costs. There is widespread global consensus that EPR for packaging is a necessary solution, and now is the time for Washington to move forward. Lastly, I'd like to underscore that recycling is a different business than the waste management and the landfill industry. We want to grow recycling-related businesses in Washington. This bill is a vote for a more resilient domestic circular economy and will bring both environmental and economic benefits.
Thank you.
Thank
Ms.
you.
Bailey.
Mr. Chair, members of the committee, for the record, Katie Beeson on behalf of the Washington Food Industry Association, representing your local independent grocers and convenience stores. We are testifying a strong other with concerns on House Bill 2049 today. Mostly because we still have issues with the definition of producer and the responsibility that our small stores could bear if they have in-store brands, and would love to see some changes there and continued conversations on that piece. We also continue to hear that the producers are going to bear the cost of the program, and we sincerely believe that those costs are going to be pushed onto products and therefore are going to increase the cost of groceries, which is concerning, especially for our small stores that cannot offset costs in other states like the larger grocers can. Finally, I'd love to end on a positive note. We are thankful for the litter tax study that's included in this bill, and are looking forward to continued conversations on this issue.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chair and committee members. I'm Christopher Fenarelli on behalf of the Household and Commercial Products Association. Here in the other category, HCPA has been especially focused and active around Part 2 of the bill, the PCRC provisions, and appreciate some of the improvements that have been made under that section to date. These changes make compliance less complicated. We're still advocating for amendments that give ecology the flexibility to make longer term determinations around PCR beyond 1 year, as well as a fair administrative fee structure for producers. Conversations with the sponsor have been productive on this front, and we thank Representative Berry for that. We are working toward a neutrality on the bill with these discussions. And thank you, Mr. Chair, for the opportunity to testify remotely today.
Thank you, Mr. Fenarelli.
Good afternoon, Chair Ormsby and members of the committee. My name is Peter Steelquist. I'm the Washington Policy Manager for the Surfrider Foundation, here today in support of HB 2049, the REWRAP Act. This bill is one of the 3 priorities of the Washington Environmental Priorities Coalition. Every day, millions of Washingtonians have to decide where to put their waste, oftentimes not knowing if they are helping or harming. Last year, thanks to you, the study commissioned in the budget found that only 17% of Washington's plastic packaging waste is actually recycled. Under the current system, residents of 11 counties don't even have access to curbside recycling. Fixing this problem is very popular with residents. A recent poll indicated that 87% of Washington voters support local and state policies that reduce single-use plastic packaging and improve recycling. Production of new packaging is driving climate change. By increasing recycling rates, we will curb emissions, decrease our dependence on extractive fossil fuels, which the feedstock is for plastic. This bill has been reworked, renegotiated, and reintroduced with over 4 years of stakeholder work. We must join our neighbors in Canada, California, and Oregon to implement EPR and overhaul our state's recycling system.
Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Representative Macri.
Go ahead.
Thank you, Madam Vice Chair, members of the committee. Carl Schrader here with the Association of Washington Cities. We're here in strong support of this admittedly complicated bill. So put simply, the reason we support it is that it will increase recycling rates, expand access to curbside recycling to over 500,000 Washingtonians, and reduce costs for our residents. I want to give you a few things to think about on this needs assessment that you're hearing about. The RAP Act already includes a comprehensive and robust county-by-county needs assessment as a critical part of implementing this program. That's because all the EPRs that have been adopted in other states include such a needs assessment upon passage of the law. This is not just about what needs to be done, but how it will be done to accomplish what the law sets out, and therefore a pre-needs assessment would be duplicative and would not get rid of the need to do a more sophisticated needs assessment once the program goes into effect. Finally, I just want to point out that I'm aware of numerous studies showing no significant difference in the cost between places that have EPR and those who don't, particularly one in Canada that looked at some of their provinces that have EPR policies and those that don't, and the cost of groceries
Schrader.
and Walmarts, and we can share that with
Very
you.
much.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and members of the committee. For the record, I'm Vicki Christopherson here today on behalf of the Washington Refuse and Recycling Association in opposition to this legislation. We should be proud in the state of Washington of the recycling rates we have achieved, which put us at the top of the country in terms of diversion of material into new products. Washington's recycling system does not need an overhaul. That is an excessive approach to the issue of improving recycling. It is a fact that prices will go up. When costs are increased for a business, prices will go up. And we do have studies that we will provide to the committee that show about a 5 to 7% sales tax increase on covered products in EPR program. The interesting thing here for me is that we talk about overhauling a system, and then we're told we should do a needs assessment after we've decided to overhaul the system. That doesn't make sense. That's like building a bridge before the design is done to tell you where the supports should go. Washington Refuse and Recycling Association supports a robust needs assessment to identify the needs that we need across our state
Thank you, Ms.
in local
Christopherson.
jurisdictions to improve recycling. Thank you.
Thank you. Representative Macri?
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and please go ahead, Lisette.
Good afternoon, Chair Ormsby and members of the committee. Lisette Galena testifying today on behalf of Waste Management opposed to Substitute House Bill 2049. As the largest provider of recycling services in Washington, we cannot support a bill that provides a prescription before identifying gaps and necessary investments. Waste Management would like to see a bill that calls for a comprehensive needs assessment that will help answer questions like how many facilities, trucks, workers, and upgrades Washington needs to meet recycling goals, as well as how much it will cost. Several states are working on a statewide needs assessment to understand the cost before moving forward with EPR. For example, Colorado Needs Assessment estimates the recycling upgrades and changes would cost between $130 million to $240 million, depending on which plan is approved. Waste Management is interested in continuing the conversation, but we caution against using EPR to fundamentally overhaul an entire system that has proven to be popular and successful.
Thank you very much. Representative Macri?
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and welcome, Jay.
Be happy to fix that. Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee. For the record, I'm Holly Chiza, and I'm here on behalf of the Consumer Brands Association. The Consumer Brands Association represents the world's leading consumer brand companies, and almost all of our members would be considered producers under House Bill 2049. I want to thank the work of Representative Berry on this legislation, but as of today, we still oppose the legislation, and we appreciate her open doors. We continue to try to work through the bill. As today's a fiscal policy, I do want to focus on the fiscal note. Our members would be expected to join the producer responsibility organizations, or PROs, that are contained in this bill, and the funding for those would come directly from us as manufacturers. As such, we would ask that we are provided a significant role in the discussion from the beginning in this bill about how the PROs are constructed and how the plans are approved, as we are the ones that are expected to implement them. Additionally, we support the needs assessment that is contained in the bill. We would ask that that cost not be borne by the PRO, because we are not in charge of the solid waste system. So it doesn't make sense for us to pay for a study of that system, but that be a budgetary concern.
So much.
Thank you.
Okay, so I just got out of the hearing. It was very long. I've been in there for like 3 hours. They finally got to the Rewrap Act. There was maybe like 15 people who testified. I saw some, stars in there. Governor Inslee's wife, Trudy Inslee, was in there. She did not testify, but she was there because this is a priority bill of the governor. I also saw the prime sponsor, Representative Berry. She also did not testify. Essentially, the people who are pro were testifying like, we need more recycling and we need to increase it, and this is going to be the way to do it. The people who are anti were predominantly from the business community, so we're really just saying that we need a needs assessment first before we can put into this bill into effect. So it was pretty exciting. Got to see a lot of things. I'll report back more later.